Before we get to our episode, I want to take a moment to tell you about a platform that is revolutionizing the way SMP artists market their clinics, and best of all, you don't need to spend money on ads to use it. The platform is called HighLead, and it's a complete sales and marketing system created by an SMP artist that is guaranteed to generate more bookings for your clinic. HighLead helps you capture, nurture, and close more business with dozens of features, including your own website chat widget, a unified text message, phone, and email marketing system, a review management system, helpful automations, and so much more. And beyond that, HighLead's team gives you one-on-one sales and marketing training, step-by-step onboarding calls, and responsive support. If you're ready to fill your pipeline with quality SMP leads, check out HighLead right now at gohighlead.com. You can get access to a 20-minute overview video to see behind the scenes, or book a live one-on-one demo with the founder to get all your questions answered with absolutely no risk or obligations. Check out gohighlead.com today. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Scalp Solutions podcast. I am your host, David Santiago, and today we got another amazing artist coming on the podcast to drop some gems. We're going to talk about her come up, what she's been doing, and she's got a very important announcement that makes us now we fam for real, for real. And she's coming from the West Coast. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce my guest, Chakay Smith.
Hey, hi David. How you doing?
What's the deal, Cha? How you been?
I've been great. Truly blessed, honored to be here. I've been good. Thank you.
You are making some serious moves these days.
Yeah.
And I want to tap into that, but before we do that, I want to talk about your come up in the industry. So let's kick it right off with, how did you first become interested with scalp micropigmentation?
Well, I have my own business already, the Bar Aesthetics, and I've been doing lashes, permanent makeup, brows, microblading, and on social media, and it just came across my page, and I was like, oh, what's that? So as I started looking more into it, more interested, mainly looking at the clients' reactions when they were done. And me, I love to make people happy. So seeing that, I was like, that's something I can do. It's challenging. I'm always up to a challenge, and just started researching it more, and I got into it.
So when did you start SMP? Around what year? Like how many years have you been doing SMP now?
I've been doing SMP since 2018. That's when I was trained and really dove right into it, with practicing, of course, models, and took on my first client probably about 6 months into it.
Got you. Was that now 6 months of you practicing before you decided to take on a client, or was it just, the normal, rookie struggle to get a client, 6 months?
Practicing, repetition, and doing a couple of models, but that practicing, it was, it's very overwhelming at first. So you want to get it right. And at the end of the day, it's like, gosh, I'm on somebody's head. And, just like with the brow industry and lash industry, that's somebody's face, that's somebody's head. And so you want it to be right. Me, I want it to be right. So I'm not going to just go out there like, hey, let's go. I'm ooh, that don't look good. No, I wanted to make sure it was right, because when they walk out of here, that's my name on their scalp. So
yeah, absolutely. I always look at that with the artists that are doing really good for themselves and do in fact produce good procedures. When I've asked them, or it just comes up with how long it took before we did a first client. You know, a lot of them are like, no, I did 5 months, 6 months. Eric, I don't know if you know this. He said he did about 9 months just working on a melon before he even took on a client. And where you're now starting to see in the industry, like some of these guys are coming out 1 week after training and they're taking on clients. And, you know, I could respect the hustle. I'm not knocking it, right? We get it. You know, you want to get your money back, but they're skipping out on such an important part of the process. And that's just doing the work, practicing, understanding the technique before you bring a client in and potentially destroy.
Man, David, listen, I look at it like this. So because most of the artists in SMP, they're barbers, right? How long did they go to barbering school? Come on,
6 months
okay.
at minimum.
So what makes you think you go to barbering school for months, a year at least, before you are licensed to actually cut someone's hair? So why do you think taking an SMP course for 2 or 3 days and you can come out tattooing somebody's head and think that you have the knowledge that you need? You just don't, and I get it. I get the hustle. However, when you are led by money, it never turns out right.
I love saying that.
You know what I mean? So, but when people are led by passion, you don't have to worry. Everything else falls into place behind that.
Yeah.
Be led by passion. Take your time to perfect your craft. And that's what I try to get out to students and anyone that wants to listen. It's like, don't be led by money. Because if that's what you truly want to do, it's going to fall into place. It will come automatically. But get that shit right.
Absolutely. And you are definitely a testament to that kind of work ethic. And again, we'll get into it later as to how that has paid off for you. But now as a PMU artist as well, are you now exclusive to just SMP, or are you still offering other services?
I'm still offering services, brow services. I do semi-permanent brows. I feel like I am slowly weaning out of that and being fully committed to SMP. It just seems like that's where my heart truly is. I was a lash artist for 8 years, and I just stopped doing that last year. And that was really, really hard. Really hard because I was busy constantly. And not only that, I developed relationships with my clients. So it was like, oh my gosh, it was more of what am I going to do with my clients? I need to find them a home, so it was a lot of that I was struggling with. But when I stopped doing it, it was definitely a breath of fresh air. And because it allowed me to focus even more on SMP and the education side of it. So definitely a great decision. But yeah, I would say probably before this year is out, I will be exclusive to SMP.
Outstanding. Are you excited for that?
I am. I really am. The joy that I get when I see my clients after a session, it's priceless. So yeah, that my passion's there.
Talk to me about some of the adversities you had to overcome as a new SMP artist, as a female SMP artist, and how'd you go about that?
So good question. When I got into the industry, I felt alone. A lot of that I winged it myself. I didn't have the support that I needed to move forward with it. So there were times I was like, you know what, forget this, or I kind of put it on the back burner and continued my other services. But I was alone. It was lonely, out here in these streets. But for me, I never give up on anything. And I've always been the only female in the room. And that's how it was with my training with SMP. But even as a woman, as a Black woman, let's put it out there, even as a Black woman, even the other trainings that I've gone to, whether in PMU or the lash industry, I was the only one woman of color, and so women tended to kind of like stay away from me. And I peeped it out. It was whatever. That's not what I was there for. But I just knew that I had to be an advocate for myself. I wasn't going to blame anybody for what training I did get or what lack of or non-support. At the end of the day, it was all on me, and I had to make it happen. And because I have a mindset like I'm not giving up, one, I've invested a lot into me, so um, I want to make sure that, one, of course, I get my investment back, but I wanted to make something out of it. So net, but I will tell you, in this industry, when I started putting myself out there as far as networking, um, I found that it was a lot easier in this industry. I was a lot more accepted. It was, networking was, hey, how can I help you? And just making the contacts. And I've gotten pretty close to several people in this industry who I call my brothers, and other women. So the adversity wasn't so much in this industry. It was more welcoming, I would say.
Gotcha.
Um, so, which is good because that I'm hoping that other women would see that, wanting to come into this industry, and be able to flourish and be excited and really make an impact and a difference, not just in their lives as they move forward, but in other people's lives, their clients' lives that they service.
Yeah, for sure. And you spoke of networking, and I want to ask you, and this might be it, but what are unique skills or qualities do you think that are important for successful SMP artists to possess?
Um, One, you have to be able to ask for the help. You have to be in that mindset that you're not going to be out here alone. There are people here that are willing and wanting to help you, but you also have to understand that you got to put in the work too. Okay, it's not going to just fall in your lap. Don't be afraid to ask. Knowledge is power, and the dumbest question is the one that's not asked.
Not asked.
So I think that if you understand what you're getting into and knowing that you want to put in the work and ready to put in the work and not going back to being led by passion and not money, I feel the sky's the limit for you.
Outstanding. So now you've overcome, you're practicing, you're doing your thing, you're an established SMP artist that's coming up. Can you share a memorable moment in your SMP career where the transformation you witnessed, you were just like, oh, okay, I got this. It's on now.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, and it really came from someone who I call a friend now, my brother. Um, we met back in, I think 2021 at a master class, and we hit it off. And I'll tell you his name in a minute because I got to give him a shout out. But he really opened himself up to me and was like, hey, whatever you need. He lived in another state. Whatever you need, I got you. And so we started talking, and I would send him my work, and he was very transparent with me. Sent it back, marked it all up. I was like, ooh, okay, thank you. Okay. Went out there a couple times, worked with him, did a couple of trainings with him, assisted, and it was the friendship that we developed. Also, I guess you would say a mentorship that gave me that full confidence that I had it. Because even up to then, I was still doubting myself, like, I don't know, I'm missing something. He was like, "You're tripping. Like, look at it. Did you really look at your work? You're tripping." And I'm like, and he's like, I said, "Yeah, but it doesn't look like this and that." And he's like, "Don't worry about this and that and them. You have a unique quality, and you have to understand it, you have to see it, and you have to own it." And he was very instrumental to really opening my eyes and showing me the things that I did not see, and shoot, gaming me on a lot of things, a lot of techniques that I saw, but I couldn't understand, but he helped me put it all together. And that's when I had my aha moment, like, I can really do this. I can really do this. But it was because of his guidance and support, um, is one of the reasons why I am here and back in the game, you know. So this is my guy, H the technician. He's from Utah. His
Technician. Okay,
H
Utah.
technician.
I thought he was from Texas for some reason.
Oh, he's from Utah, and that he is
Oh,
my little big brother.
well,
And
shout out to H the technician for holding
yes,
it down.
that's my boy. And if it was not for him, he basically helped me open my flower up to bloom and to really have the confidence and move forward in this industry. So, H, you my boy, I love you and thank you so much for believing in me. And because that's what it takes. Even if it's just one person, that's what it takes. It's just one person to believe in you and guide you and help you and say you got this. You
Yeah,
know, so
absolutely.
he's my person, and I'm forever appreciate him for that.
Yeah, it's super dope to have a relationship like that. I don't know the extent of the conversations you've had with Juan. I know you guys now, share a lot of time together, but that's the role he played in my come up
Mm-hmm.
as
Mm-hmm.
well. I was 40 clients deep and I still was questioning myself, like, is this what I really want to do? And he came in like Superman and took me under the wing and told me this is what you need to keep doing. And that's when I had my aha. I was like, oh, hold on a second. I just needed this little bit of sauce.
Right.
It's game
Right.
over now. Yeah, I was like, it's game over now, and that's it. So I
Right.
understand and I can appreciate just how valuable a relationship like that is. So now,
But David, let me also say this,
sure,
and that's another thing. We've all come from somewhere, and someone has helped us. So my thing is paying it forward. And acknowledging who is your village and who's helped you. And I don't see a lot of that. You know, I Someone helped you to get to where you are, and that's invaluable, and that has to be acknowledged. And there's nothing wrong with saying, yes, I got help, and I got help from this person,
yeah,
because it takes, you have to have your village. It takes a village. You cannot be in this industry alone thinking that, oh, I got it, I can figure it out, this and that. No, 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 no. You can't. And it's okay. It's okay.
yeah. Somewhere along the line, I feel like some of the artists have made it like it's a bad thing to reach out to another artist and ask a question, and I say that because I get screenshots sometimes that are like, "Oh, look, can you believe, this person is asking me this?" And I'm kind of like, "Yo, bro, like that's corny, man. Just answer his question." It's not like it's a newbie question like, "Hey, what's a 3RL needle?" It's like a legit question like, "Hey, this guy's got two different types of skin tone. Like, what exactly is this?" He said he's got hyperpigmented skin. Can I work on this? And it's like, dude, that is not a beginner's question
Right.
at all.
Right.
Like, just
Right.
help them out. So I feel like there are certain people. I don't do that because, again, just like you, I've had someone like Juan. So for me, it's like I want to put it out there, and that's also how I grew into the podcast. Because when I was coming up, I was like, man, all these gatekeepers, man, they keeping the information to themselves. Like they don't want to help. Like
Man.
I thought this was a tight tight crowd, and everyone looked out for each other because they wanted to see, the industry thrive and everyone be successful. I was like, it's not like that. So I was like, you know what, man, I'm gonna make a podcast. I'm gonna bring these dudes on. I'm gonna make them, I'm gonna get them to drop some gems. So
Yeah, why not?
yeah.
And that's one thing I will tell you. That's one thing that I've noticed, and not just in this industry, just period. I've had people come up. I had a client consultation yesterday, and he was contemplating 3 other people, and I just was like, he's like, yeah, they're quoting me this price here. It's lower. I was like, oh, okay. And he just looked at me and stopped. He's like, oh, you're not about that competition? No, I'm not. Because let me tell you something, the only person I'm in competition with is me.
Damn.
And what people need to understand as a whole, there is enough to go around for everybody. I can't do all these heads out here in the Bay Area. We can all sit down at the same table at the same time and eat together. Eat together.
I'm all for that. It's so funny because, and I'm pretty sure, we like to throw out statistics out there, right? Hey, this is why you should be an SMP artist. There's over 40 million people in this country, men and women suffering from hair loss, right? But you throw out those numbers like that. And if you even attempt to try to all right, how much of those can I possibly do? You can't even scratch that. But when it comes time to try to network and kind of empower, help each other out, it's kind of nope. And it's like, bro, you're not even getting a tenth of what's out there for us. So why not, share the wealth, share some valuable information.
That's crazy to me. Sharing is caring. That's what we teach our kids.
Not everybody believes that, unfortunately.
I know.
Now,
I get it.
moving along, you're doing your thing, you obviously put in the work, and early on you spoke about networking, right? You've been doing your own thing for over 5 years, right? A little over 5 years. And now you have come under the Gerow Hair Inc. umbrella, got your own studio out in Cali. Talk to me. How did that even transpire? How did that even come about? What was the conversation like?
Wow. Yes. And if someone were to tell me today that, oh, you would be part of the Gerow Hair Inc. team, I would be like, fuck out of here. What are you talking about? There's no way. But last December, my dear friend Christy was partnering up on the PMU side with Gerow Hair Inc. And she's like, oh, I'm going to New York. I'm going to do a class out there. And she told me this back in October, I believe, September, October. And I just called her up one day and I said, I feel like I need to go to New York with you. Don't know where it came from, but I'm like, I feel like I need to go. And she's like, yes, come. Absolutely. I said, I'll come. I'll help you. Whatever you need, I'll be your assistant. But I feel like I need to be there. Okay, cool. So it was, she was at the Gerow Hair Inc. studio, went there. She went and introduced me to the guys, and just immediately I was like, wow, they are so, let me tell you something. If no one knows about Jonathan, Eric, and Juan, these are the most humble guys I've ever met. And they didn't know me from Adam. And I went in there and introduced myself, and they're like, hey, how you doing? What are you doing? And I'm just telling them, hey, I'm a PMU artist, but I also do SMP. Oh, okay. Immediately, Jonathan just started showing me different things and talking to me, and Eric and Juan. And it felt like we just knew each other, But so I was there for several days. So I'm over on one end helping Christy, but then I'm running over to their end and I'm checking out SMP, and I'm just looking, asking questions. No problem. They're answering them. And when I left, it encouraged me to say, you know what? I really do want to get into the educational side of SMP. I love it. So I started writing a SMP manual. And then I returned back in February because she's like, oh, I got to go back out in February. Oh, well, I need to come with you. But see, point, at that point, it was more of, I want to get into the educational side of it. And I'm writing this manual. And Eric had already gave me some samples on the jade needles. He was like, back in December, he's like, take these home, see how you, man, I'm calling him up. Why are you teasing me with these needles? I'm out and I need more. So my plan was to go back in February and talk to them about getting the needles at, a wholesale rate. Because I'm like, hey, I want to put them in my kits for clients because I want to start training classes later this year. Oh yeah, you want to train? Yeah. So first I was talking to Juan about it. He was like, we need to have a conversation later. I was like, okay. And they talked about going to the West Coast, expanding to the West Coast. So I was like, hey, yeah, you guys should come to California, the Bay Area. I'm like, oh, okay, San Francisco. Okay. So having a conversation with Eric, just talked about still no plans of thinking about Gerow Team. I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to do out there. And he's like, well, if you need any help, let us know. We'll be more than happy to help you with whatever you need. Because I feel like it was the connection, it was the energy that brought us to each other. And everything just seemed so simple. So as we continue to talk, it's like, yeah, if you want to help, and who knows, maybe we can partner up. And I'm like, what? There is no way. I'm like trying to slap myself, wake myself up. I'm like, there's no way. But after that, we just started having more conversations, went back out there in April. And it was like, yeah, let's do this. And it was just such a amazing experience, just being around those guys and opening their arms up to me, but when you have a good soul, when you genuinely want to help others, see people win with nothing in return, it's like, how can I help you? I'm like, there's no way that there's somebody out there that's like me, because that's who I am. You need help. How can I help you? I want to make sure you're good, with me having no expectations at all. So to meet others like that and in this industry,
It's refreshing.
very refreshing. And it just solidified that, what, there are good people out here and in this industry that have a passion for what they do, and they actually care about what they do and how they're impacting others' lives. And that, I wanted to be a part of that. So here we are today. That is my extended family. Those are my brothers. And, Juan refers to me as their first lady. And,
Oh, that's right. Great.
and, I embrace it, but, great opportunity. But I feel for me, it just gives me a bigger platform to stand on to, one, help others, let people know that they can achieve anything they want as long as, they work hard at it, and just to help keep this industry solid, So I'm just truly thankful and honored and blessed to be a part of that team, and just excited for what's to come.
Now, how far along are you now? Because I know you recently posted a video on social media that you guys got the build out going on. How far along are you? Is that something that you could even reveal?
Oh, yes. And it's coming, but yes, we will be open July 15th. The
Okay,
build
you got
out
a
is pretty
full
much
date.
done. The build out is pretty much done. I'm like, it's just the little things. but yeah, the structure, it's done. What's great about it, I'm in my studio here, but it's literally two doors down, so it's in the same building.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
Yeah, so I can manage both. But yeah, we are having our grand opening slash open house for SMP on July 15th. The whole team will be out here. So it's gonna be lit. Bay Area better stand up because we coming.
That's awesome. I'm looking over here, July 15th. What's July 15th for me?
Yes, yes, put it down,
I
Dave.
didn't get no invitation, man. I'm gonna have to call these guys up, man.
No, David,
Ever since you got on the scene, I've been being treated like a stepchild. And
oh
I don't know
no, oh no, we're gonna change that. There's no way. They can't mess with you like that. No.
Oh man.
July 15th. That
July
is
15th.
Gerow Hair Inc. of California grand opening open house for SMP artists, or excuse me, SMP potential artists that want to get into the industry. We will have an open house on that day to give you all the information you need to sign up for the class, because our first class here will be August 28th and 29th.
Look at you guys. You ain't playing around, hitting the streets, running. So
Yes.
let me get back. I want to tap into the SMP artists of you. And is there a particular hairline that you enjoy designing? What is that?
Hey you guys, we are excited to share with you some very exciting news. We have created an online training platform that you can do in the palm of your hand.
With over 20 modules and nearly 80 lessons, this is the most comprehensive and detailed scalp micropigmentation course out there.
For those of you who can't travel here, maybe you're in other countries, you can now learn from your computer, you can sit at home, you can sit in a bus, and you can learn scalp micropigmentation with the greatest innovators in this industry.
Want to learn more? Click the link below.
I love a natural look.
Natural hairline.
I love natural hairline.
I'm sure I know what you mean by natural hairline, but I'm sure you could also understand why I'm going to pose this question, because
Yes.
there are a lot of different variations depending on who you talk to of what a natural hairline is. So before you explain, how you attack the natural hairline, can you just let us know what is your definition of a natural hairline?
Yes. For me, a natural hairline is a soft hairline, even if it is, because see, a lot of clients, they still want that barber edge, but may not want it a hard line. So I like to break up the hairline so it's not a edge up. So whether they have it receding back a little bit or still kind of have that edge up. So there's different variations of a natural hairline. But I really try to talk my clients into, let me break that up for you, especially, as they're mature in age, like, let me break that up for you.
Like, you're 65 years old, bro. You can't be going out.
You can't. Come on, listen.
Listen, I'm in New York. Everybody, they're 70 years old. They want hard hair. They deal.
That's one thing I noticed about East Coast, West Coast. That East Coast, they like, I don't care. I'm 95 years old. I won't bring it.
So now, when you coming up with when you're designing your natural hairline, can you walk us through with first session for you? Like, how do you go about when you're laying down that foundation, that first session? Like, do you have like a strategy, like a set strategy, or are you at the point where you just sit there, look at the scalp, and you already know, like, hey, I'm just gonna go controlled chaos, because I do controlled chaos. There's no it's just like, I know what I'm doing, and that's that. There's no like, okay, I'm gonna feather here and then move up about half an inch. you know, make it a little more dense and then blend in between. Like I don't do all that. How about you?
Me, and this is what I train. Um, I train people to trust their eyes. And you want to, because they're so quick to grab the ruler and just make everything about the ruler. And I say, listen, don't forget about these eyes here. You know, train your eye. When your client comes and sits down, what do you see? And if you like really take a look and look at your client, you're going to see a hairline. You're going to see where it starts. You're going to see where that temple is. You're going to see their existence. You're going to see all of that instead of so quick to pick up a ruler and start doing your measurements. You can do that just after you do it. But for me, I'm still basic, you know, because that's what works. First session, I'm laying down a foundation. I'm not doing too much density. I'm getting a feel for that scalp. I do the hairline, and, you know, my spacing is still, and I was told this a while ago, you're not a beginner. Stop dotting like a beginner. And I'm like, okay, I'll tighten it up a little bit, but
Is this one?
no, this wasn't Juan. This was my guy H.
Eight? Okay.
He was like, stop dotting like a beginner. You're not a beginner. And I'm like, this is what works for me. But I saw what he was saying is like, tighten it up a little bit. But I don't go too crazy on the first session because I still play it conservative with color. I still play it conservative with the hairline where it's at, you know, because things change, especially the more melanin you have, oily skin, that pigment's gonna move, you know. So I take my time. I just do, you know, and when they come back for the second session, if it's light, of course it's going to lighten up a little bit, but it lets me know if I need to stick with that color or go deep or go darker. And that's where I really get to work. That's my density session. So I still follow the basics.
The protocol. Yeah, I'm the
and
same way.
and a lot of that is, you know, I still see work out there, whether it's after a first session or a second session. And I sometimes I cringe at them, like, a year from now, 2 years from now, that person's gonna need laser. You know, so I stick with what works for me and kind of just preach. I do what I preach. So if I'm telling my students to do this, I'm doing the same thing because I want consistency.
Got you. And do you find yourself, so you said when you're doing if anyone comes in and they want like the barber's edge, you still go in and soften it up. Have you ever had a client that was set on wanting that sharp barber's edge, but you knew if I give him a natural version of that, he's going to be just as happy, and you went ahead and did it anyway? Have you done that?
No, and I'll tell you, I'm never afraid to say no. If that shit's gonna look whack on you, I'm gonna tell you. That's just straight up. It's not gonna look right. And I give them the reasons why, you know. But I'm not afraid to tell somebody no, you know. And I'm like, you have to really understand. Like, sometimes people come in with very unrealistic goals, and I have to think about their long term, and I have to think about my reputation.
Yeah, your credibility.
Man, they walk out of here, man, I got on, yeah, Chakay over there, Gerow, she did this. No, because see, if you would have did what I said before, but yeah, I really try to move people away from that, especially if it's not going to work for them. Like, we have to be realistic here. You know, that's why you're here. I'm assuming you're coming because you have looked me up, you've done your research. I know what you want, But that's just like someone coming in with, when I was doing lash extensions. Oh, I want Kim K lashes. Baby, you only got 3 lashes on your eyeball. So Kim K is not an option for you, but I can tell you this is what we can do. You know?
You know, you say that with the lashes, and I want to share this with you. I normally don't do this, but I know you would appreciate it. I recently saw a meme for for the lashes.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna show it. It's a little vulgar, but I think you'll appreciate it. Do you see what? Oh, come on, hold on.
Oh man.
Wait. There it goes.
I can't read it, but I can
It
see.
says, "Girls be like, why you keep staring at me?" And then it says, "Bitch, I thought you was a bird." The fuck?
My friends send
Because
me stuff like that all the time. Like, look at this, look at this. It's just
I think it's in every industry. The expectations sometimes just be wild because I mean I know this is not about that, but I have in fact seen some girls walking with lashes like
walking like right.
that. It's
You
crazy.
can barely open their eyes. But you know, I say this even when I was saying that I'm not afraid to tell someone no. SMP artists, you guys have to speak up because yeah, I'm just gonna give him what he wants. But is that for him?
Yeah,
You know, and you have to be realistic and you have to be transparent, not just with yourself, but with your clients. Like if they want a hard edge up and that's the face structure is not built for that, speak up and say something. You know, don't just because, oh, if I don't, he'll leave and go somewhere else. Then maybe he just wasn't for you, you
yeah,
know, and that's going back to keeping the industry solid, you know, because when you start putting stuff out there and it doesn't look right on somebody, well, that's what he wanted, but it's on you because that's your name on there and you should know better. You should know better that if they want something, yeah, they can want everything, but that doesn't mean it's for them. So you have to talk to them, finesse it in a way to where they understand as to why that may not work for them. But here's an alternative. This is what will look natural on you and show your features. And you know, you have to have that kind of develop that kind of relationship with your clients, but have the confidence in yourself, in your work, in your capabilities. Because what if 6 months from now they're like, "What did I do? This doesn't even look right on me."
yeah,
They're gonna look at you and be like, "Well, aren't you the expert? Why didn't you tell me it didn't look right on me?"
yeah. I can see it from both perspectives, but I always lean towards being able to have, being able to say no. Like I'm just not doing it. I know early on in my career, I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna give it to him. That's what he wants. He's the
Mhm.
client knows best." You start hearing things like that, and you realize, like, well, no, this is a different kind of service.
Right,
You
right.
you can't, bring over the client knows best because in our case, most of the time, um, they actually don't. But I've heard the other side's reasoning for it too, and I get it. I just don't agree with it, but sometimes to each his own. But I also agree with what you're saying. Like that's an attempt to preserve, the industry by being able to say no to a client that got these wild expectations. Um,
Or compromise. Come to a happy
yeah,
medium.
happy medium. I'll give you I'll give you the hard hairline shape, the pattern, but we're gonna break it up a little bit so that you don't look like you 85 and just walked out of a South Bronx barbershop with with a
That part,
do
yes.
do you
Compromise is always good. Yes.
do you have any SMP artists in particular or any of the industry professionals that have influenced you and actually inspired your work? I know you spoke about H technician, like, giving you some words of encouragement and stuff like that, but do you find yourself, following or looking at other artists and kind of like trying to emulate or using their work for motivation?
Yes, absolutely. Um, Shoot, I even throw out Picasso. He was early on. I admired his work. Um, Alex from Scalp X out of Milwaukee, amazing artist.
Just dope.
Um, of course, we can't. Yes, cannot of course forget about the Gerow team. Jonathan, Eric, Ian, yeah, Chris is part of Gerow out in Houston. Um, Shoot, and even on the female side, Katie SMP
Yeah.
from Toronto. I think she's from Toronto, Canada.
Yeah,
Amazing artist. I really, really enjoy her work. So those are just a few that inspire me. Um, um, and I continue to watch. But yeah, there's a whole lot more. And I definitely, oh my gosh, cannot forget about my boy Tony. Tony,
Tony everybody loves Tony. I'm jealous of Tony. Everybody loves Tony, man. I don't see what's the big deal with that guy.
Whatever. That's my guy. That is my guy, and he will tell you I'm his sis. So,
have you ever met him in person?
Yes. I first met Tony back in 2021 in LA. He partnered up with
oh, that's right. We had the class out there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I saw him again, was it last year, in Tulum at a conference. But Tony has dropped many gems in my ear that I hold dear to this day, that is very instrumental in how I work and finish a SMP client. So Tony's my heart. He's a great guy. And I was just chatting with him the other day. I'm like, when are you coming to California? Like, come on, I haven't seen you in a year. Let's go.
I'm trying to bring him to. Actually, you know what? We supposed to be out there, me and him, in October.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to stop by. We're gonna have to check you out.
Come on, man. Come on.
We'll get it popping real quick.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some tools. What is it that you use and what machine are you using? What are your go-to needles?
Okay. I use the Flux. Two machines I use. I use either the Flux Spectra, or I use the InkU machine. I've been rocking with that lately. I like it, because I have PMU fingers. So it's
thin one, right?
Yes, it's very thin, very light. So I've been rocking with that for probably the last several months. So I'm really enjoying it. Needles, of course, the InkU Jades, those needles, they just hit differently.
Yeah. You hear people like, oh, needles is needles and blah, blah, blah. I was like, yo, these things is sharp as hell.
Come on now. That taper. And in my time in SMP, I've probably tried, I don't know, 6, 7 different needles, but those, I told you, Eric gave me some samples back in December, and I'm like, I was acting like I was a dope fiend. Look.
Where can I get those?
Where the needles at, man? I'm out. What you do to me? Why are you just gonna give me that sample? Man, those needles, they hit. And actually, I started using them with brows too, because they're so fine and tapered. I've been using them for the last few months on brows. Amazing. And it cuts my time down tremendously. But what I like about those jade needles, I can use one needle for the whole head. And even I can drop about probably 300 impressions before I have to dip in the pigment again. So they're the truth. And when I say that should be their hashtag, they just hit different.
It just hit. Our last live that we did together, Gerow, Jonathan gave like a demonstration for it, because people are like, oh, that thing ain't putting out no 200 impressions. So we did it live. We streamed it. He dipped one time and he did damn near like a quarter of a freaking of a head. Going from the hairline from the hairline back to show people that, you know, the needles are legit. They're great needles. I know there's a lot of, you know, hype behind some of the, but we had to show them like these needles are in fact, they're legit. I enjoy them myself. That's all I use. That's all I use too. I was told by Juan, if you don't use these needles, you know, we're not friends. So, you know.
Juan be blackmailing folks, man. Come on, Juan.
So before we wrap it up, what do you enjoy most about being an SMP artist, and what do you hope to achieve in your career moving forward?
What I enjoy most about being an SMP artist is making people happy. That moment when they get in front of that mirror is priceless. And that's what that really keeps me going. I have been in the service industry for a long time. I am here to provide a service. I'm here to make people happy. So to add on that, I'm actually changing someone's life. I'm bringing their confidence back. I'm making them feel good on the outside to feel good on the inside. Nothing, no job can compete with that, you know? So, and to see that there are, so that's what I love about SMP. What my dreams are, what my goals are for the future in this industry, definitely to continue to educate and also encourage, whether it's in the SMP, PMU, or just life period. I just want people to know that continue to be transparent and have confidence within yourself and know that yes, you're going to have struggles. Like I am not picture perfect. I could tell you I'm a whole book that hasn't been read yet. Okay. But through it all, it's important to make yourself a priority, to be vulnerable, to be, to care, to share, to love, to enjoy life. And that's one thing that I tell people, my friends, my family, live your life. Just live your life. There's so much going on in this world, but you only have one life and tomorrow's not promised. So just live. I want to keep encouraging people to do that. I want to be an educator in this industry, and try to just help keep the industry solid any way that I can. It's a great industry. We are changing lives, but I want people to remember what they're doing and why they're doing it and how it's affecting not just your life, but how it's affecting other lives. So that's just, those are my goals. I want to be happy. I am happy. First of all, I am happy. But I want to continue to spread the joy in this industry, in our community, help others as much as I possibly can, and continue to learn myself. I always said I am a forever student. You know, I will never stop learning. But yeah, just keeping the industry solid and just really enjoying what I'm doing and just living life to the fullest.
Yeah, so outstanding. Let everybody know where they can find you if they want to tap in with you, maybe some future training. I know you put some dates on. We're going to put that down in the description. But if they want to directly get in contact with you, website, social media, all that good stuff. All
right. So my social media, I have two. I have Chakay Smith. What is it? Chakay Smith _ SMP. So that's CHAKAY Smith _ SMP. My main page is the Bar Aesthetics. It's the Bar _ Aesthetics, something like that. My website, until I have my Gerow hair ink site up here in California, my website here is thebaraesthetics.com. What else did you ask me, David?
Yeah, the website and on your social media handles or where they could get in contact with you.
And my email is info@thebaraesthetics.com. And yes, aesthetics, it took me 3 years to learn how to spell that. Oh my gosh. But yes, thebaraesthetics.com, info@thebaraesthetics.com, or just reach out to me on social media. So
outstanding. Thank you, Chakay, for chopping it up with us, taking some time out of your busy schedule. Hopefully the next time you touch down in New York, I'll be around and we can all link up.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry I missed you the last couple times I was there, but we'll get it together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
for sure.
Thank you, David. It was such an honor and a pleasure to be here with you. You know, I truly appreciate you for inviting me. This has been great, and I've had fun.
Thank you. I appreciate you. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Scalp Solutions podcast. Until the next time, peace.
So feel me rain from behind. Black rain, peace through in the game. Black rain, through the struggles and the strain. Black rain, elements of mine. So feel the rain from behind. Black rain, peace through in the game. Black rain, through the struggles and the strain. Black rain, elements of mine. To feel the rain from behind. I'm sorta like a killer devil rebel. The getaway cars are the sounds of the bass and the treble. Cause I get into mine able and ready.